Rizzo.
Thank you, Dustin. Welcome out to Dozer Park. Thanks for joining us this evening here on our PeoriaMagazines.com interview today in front of the dugout. I got the hardest working guy in sports. It's Nathan Sopena. He is our fourth coach, also a scout, bullpen catcher. You do a little bit of everything, don't you?
Yeah, kind of a jack of all trades.
And tonight you're a bullpen catcher, so that's why you're in uniform. Because when you're in the stands, you're just in civilian clothes, I guess, as it's called. But down here in uniform tonight, ready to go in the bullpen. So we're going to talk both roles, but I want to start with the scouting because that's kind of unique. You do that, you see these teams, Wisconsin tonight, obviously, and some of the other teams. What's your main role there in doing the scouting for the Cardinals, so that way they don't have to have somebody that kind of goes around to every single game we play because you're already here?
Yeah, exactly. I travel with the team. And it's convenient for the organization, and I mean it's organized. I'm seeing every player that comes in this league that we face, so it's nice that they have somebody like me who can just knock out everybody in the organization, or the league.
And also for you, former player in college and in pro ball, how did the scouting part come about for you? When did you decide, all right, it's time to move on to the next phase of my career, and scouting something that I think I can do or like?
Yeah, last year I was at Eastern Illinois coaching over there, and they had me do a little local recruiting, and I enjoyed it. And it was something different that I've never done before. I started to evaluate people, players, off the field, away from what I was comfortable with, and so I had a little experience with that. And then after my playing experience, I got invited to scout school with the Pirates, and that was a great experience. I learned a lot. So that again, it sparked my interest, and I was like, this is what I want to do.
And you guys have your own language on the scout side of things too, which I've been able to pick up a little bit here and there in my 15 years being around, but able to interact with the other scouts sitting in the stands, and you're a rookie at doing this kind of, so I'm sure you're able to pick up some tips from some of the veterans that we see around, especially the last 3 weeks. Whenever we get past the draft and then all of a sudden the trade deadline's coming, we go from having 4 or 5 scouts sitting in that section where you are and where our pitchers are to having 12, 15 at sometimes, depending on who we're playing. So you've been able to kind of pick their brains and pick up some tips?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm running into a lot of guys that actually scouted me when I was, playing in college and pro ball. So a lot of familiar faces, and they've been nothing but great help.
And then on the coaching side, you're a guy who does a little bit of everything for Joe, for Dernier, for Joe Bell, but throwing BP, there's kind of an art to that as well, isn't there?
Yeah, it was hard. In spring training, I had to get used to it because you go from not throwing, all off season to throwing every single day, and the players are expecting you to throw strikes. So it can be a little frustrating at times, but once you get in that rhythm, it's just like anything else.
A lot of pressure?
At first, yeah, for sure.
It hit some ground balls as well, and you guys kind of switched around how that's happened now with the team, but early in the year, hitting some fungos and getting that stuff done, and then catching bullpens when you got to. And I know you're out there doing it tonight, and that's without a doubt the hardest of the 3, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure it's the hardest. Sometimes, I got to catch somebody like Sandy Alcantara, who throws 100 miles per hour, and other days I got to catch somebody like Bray, who's, sidearm. So you gotta keep that in mind, what kind of pitcher they are, or else you're gonna get hit, or you're gonna hurt yourself doing something.
And then you're gonna have me making fun of you, which doesn't help at all either, and David too, because
exactly.
we're all over you when you miss one of those pitches, or we know your hands hurting because you just caught Sandy or Junior with one of those guys. Who was the hardest? Is Bray the hardest with that slider?
Oh yeah, Bray. That slider, it sweeps a lot, so you gotta anticipate where it's gonna break. But I'm getting used to them. It's still difficult for me, but every day's a challenge, but I'm willing to accept it.
You're from the Chicago area, so that makes this very nice too. You're able to see your wife and get it, up back home, I should say, on some of these off days. So that's got to be a nice bonus for you being sent here to Peoria.
Oh yeah, it's great. Every off day we get, I go home, and especially when we play up in King County. I'm 20 minutes away from there, so I get to go home for those nights.
Another Chicago kid and former Chief, Charlie Tilson's about to make his Major League debut tonight with the White Sox in Detroit. I think he's batting 8th in the lineup, center field. So obviously you weren't in the Cardinals organization when he played here, but this year in spring training you were. And Chicago kid, he's a little younger, so you probably never ran into him up there, did you?
He's a little younger, but he went to New Trier High School and I went to Notre Dame, so we played against him a lot.
Yeah.
I can't remember if he was on the team then or not, but good program. He's a good. I'm assuming he's a good hard worker, and his roots. There's a really good baseball program over there.
Yeah, we got a couple of the other guys from Chicago too, Harrison and from the area, and we've seen some guys this year where I've mentioned where they're from. You're like, oh yeah, we played against them in high school. So just like I asked the players, it's got to be pretty cool for you to kind of run into some guys with connections.
Yeah, it's great. And it's in pro ball, it usually takes you away far from home. So it's 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 a blessing in disguise when you get placed somewhere very close to home.
And then one of your best friends is a Peoria guy too, from Illinois State, that actually was on Wisconsin a couple of years ago with Chris Rizzo from Chillicothe from IBC. So he give you any tips on moving to Peoria this summer?
Yeah, a little bit. He visits me every now and then, and his parents are pretty close. But yeah, I mean, he helps me out every now and then because he knows the area.
Yeah, this is always a good hit. Now, the other thing, we talked about a little bit of this in Quad Cities last week, but you were able to get some experience playing in the Dominican and get that going. It helps your Spanish, and obviously you need to communicate with these players. How much of an advantage has that given you as a coach? Obviously, we have Joe Bell and Dernier, but you're able to communicate with everybody on the team, even as you say, you're working on your Spanish from time to time, but able to at least do that.
Yeah, it's great because, it's really tough when you have somebody, on your team or on your staff that you can't understand. So when you can speak both languages or understand some, it helps them out or helps yourself out because you can create relationships and, just make the whole staff organization better.
We talked about the scouting side or the coaching side for you. What have you been able to learn? 3 veterans in this clubhouse for you to learn from with Joe Rizzo, who's been a hitting coach and a manager and a college coach. Dernier and Joe Bell have been in the Cardinal system for quite a while, able to learn from them. What have you been able to pick up being around those guys? And I guess what's helped you future-wise in coaching being around this staff?
It's great because they all have so much experience. So any question that I have, it seems like they always have the answer. But one thing I think I learned the most is that every day is a new day. So whatever you did yesterday or success or failures, tomorrow is a new day, and you carry on from that.
We get to this point in the season, and we're 108 games in with 32 plus then the playoffs to go, and in there the guys, it seems like they're pretty fresh.
Oh yeah, it's great. Skipper Rizzo does a great job with the guys. He lets them rest, and he knows how much to push them and how much to lay off. So it's a great atmosphere in there.
Yeah, a couple days off in a row here, and I shouldn't say off because it was still a couple hours pregame, but in at 4 o'clock instead of in at noon. And for you guys, that gives you guys a little chance to relax. I know you were able to get some of your other work stuff done on the scouting side, but it's nice to be able to have that luxury.
Yeah, it's great. A lot of the guys are taking advantage. They're coming in exactly at 4 o'clock, all rested and ready to go. So yeah, it's really nice that he's allowing us to do that.
Going on the road, and we've been everywhere in the league now, at least that we're going to go this year. 4 spots in the East where we don't go, but everywhere that we've been, take this place and Peoria out of it on the road. What's been your favorite?
I have to say Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful there. It's for sure it's a AA or AAA complex stadium. So yeah, that stadium over there is gorgeous.
Now, do you judge when we get into one of these visiting places? Do you judge by how much room you guys have as a coaching office? Because I know that's how Diaz and Dan are judged.
That has a lot to do with it.
That has a lot to do with it. Yeah, if you've got your own locker as a 4th coach, then you're happy.
Yeah, it's the worst when you're sharing a locker. All sweaty.
Yeah, you and Diaz are always sharing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then on the bus, I know what you do. You're asleep. Like we're not even 5 minutes out of town, and you're asleep. Even though you drink the kickstart, so you should be awake the whole bus trip. You're asleep as soon as we get on the road.
Oh yeah,
it's amazing.
It seems like a home every night. I'm knocking out reports, so it's like anytime I get to sleep, I'll sleep.
Yeah, but you're the only guy I know who can get on the bus with the kickstart and fall asleep.
Yeah, it's a talent.
Yeah, I know it's a talent. I need to know how to do it because I usually have the caffeine and the Mountain Dew, and then I'm awake the whole bus trip and can't fall asleep. But you just sit down and boom, you're out. You and Joe Bell, both of you, out right away.
I don't have to say, man.
I need some tips. That's what I need. Not a kickstart. I got enough of those. I need the tips on how to fall asleep on the bus. And we had to Cedar Rapids this week, and that's a pretty good spot for you too.
Yeah, it's Cedar Rapids. They're a good organization over there, good stadium. They're a good team, so we're looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah, we've been, I guess we're filling out all these reports now at the end of the year. You're doing it, Joe's doing it. We had to do the postseason all-star team, the Baseball America Towles list, which we were like, hey, we got a scout over here. Let's ask him who's got the best of all of this stuff. But we saw a couple pretty good teams, West Michigan, South Bend, Quad Cities on the road with some good prospects. So it's been a pretty talented league for you to evaluate this year.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Every day you show up at the ballpark and you realize that there's some big leaguers on this field, and that excites me as a scout and for each organization as well.
Well, stay healthy down there in the bullpen today, and make sure you go. Let's go 100% on catching them. I got that?
I'll try.
Yeah, you'll try. Nathan, thanks. Appreciate your time, buddy. Nathan Sopena, our fourth coach, our scout. He'll be out in the bullpen catching tonight as we've got all three of our catchers, Jose Godoy, Brian O'Keefe, Chris Chinea in the lineup for the Chiefs to take on Wisconsin here in a series finale, not a homestand finale, though. Quad Cities comes in next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all 7 o'clock starts. We've got the Hebrew National Dollar Dog Wednesday tomorrow with dollar hot dogs, dollar sodas, dollar ice cream sandwiches. Also National Night Out. We've had the gold baseballs out in the community for a couple of weeks with the youngsters and the free tickets. We'll have the Pete Van Aken bobblehead, courtesy of Busey Bank, for the first 1,000 fans, 13 and over, through the gates here tomorrow as we take on Quad Cities at 7 o'clock. Then it's a Thirsty Thursday coming up Thursday night at 7 against Quad Cities as well. $2 domestic draft beers and fountain sodas. And we finish the homestand on Friday at 7 o'clock. We will have a post-game fireworks show. We'll have a pitch-in for charity tennis ball toss. And the first 1,000 fans, 13 and over, get the Chris Archer caricature T-shirt, part of the caricature T-shirt this series. The final one coming up at the end of the year, but we've got the one coming up with Chris Archer on Friday as well, with the giveaway and the fireworks show to finish the homestand. Tonight, sit back, relax, have a lot of fun, cheer on the Chiefs. They try to take the series against Wisconsin, and we thank you for spending your Tuesday with us here at Dozer Park.